if you think the AI race is over and the big 4, 5, 6 or so players that will take over, because they have all the data, they have the access to everything, they scraped everything already, then I'm happy to present you today Bidhan Roy, who has an alternative. Welcome to Beginner's Guide to AI. And today it's an interview episode again. Bidhan is the founder and CEO of Bagel. It's a firm for... Why do I talk so much? Let's just start. So, then welcome to the podcast, Bidhan Roy, founder and CEO of Bagel. And as the podcast is not about me, but about the guest. So, Bidhan, let's ask you, who are you and what is Bagel?
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. So my name is Bidhan, as you already mentioned, and working on this project called Bagel. And what is Bagel? It's a machine learning and cryptography research lab. So we push the boundaries of artificial intelligence in the cryptography. And that means a lot of things, but one of the first things and problems that we're tackling is that how regular people can build and get access to AI in a peer-to-peer manner. We can definitely go deeper into that. My background, I am an engineer by background. I used to be the AI ML lead for Amazon Alexa, one of the largest machine learning platforms in the whole planet. And been around, like I was working at Cash App, Instacart, a lot of different companies, and used to be the ecosystem lead for a Web3 layer 1 storage chain called Arweave. And now here, bringing AI to the people.
Yeah, you said that those terms, it's a beginner's podcast, peer-to-peer. And could you go deeper in there so the people know what you actually do there?
Yeah, so we tackle a lot. So I will give one example. That if someone like me with a small company wants to train a very large model, like nowadays they're called like large language models, but there are other types of models too. I need a lot of resources. Like I need to go figure out how to get access to GPUs to be able to run the model. I have to go figure out how to get access to data to run on the model. And it's very hard and it takes a lot of money. Meta or Google, they have billions of dollars to be able to build this inventory for them to come and build it. But as a small company founder, I don't have access to that amount of resources. So I'll have to figure out how to do that. Then maybe I will find someone else, like maybe someone like you, who has a GPU, and I wanna send my...
For the listeners, those GPUs, I seem to remember they're in the range of 20 to 60,000 or so, one GPU or something.
Sometimes they're even more. Like the top ones can go up to 100,000, right? And they're massive. Like the top of the line GPUs from NVIDIA or Tesla, they are very expensive. So it's hard to get access to, right? And then, but what if we do it in a peer-to-peer way? Like, what if we bring a community together? So how can we bring a community together to build these massive AI models, large language models? So we shared the load. I have some data, someone else, a third party has a model, and we have some GPUs, and we want to work together to build these massive AI models. And that way we have a chance to be able to compete with these big tech companies. But there's a problem, is that there's the privacy if you do it in this way. Like we call it peer-to-peer because it's not like you're not doing it in a centralized way. You're working with other peers, decentralized way, to be able to do so. And one of the biggest problems of that kind of infrastructure is privacy, because I send my data to you, then you get access to all the data, right? And I don't have the privacy anymore. Same with the model, right? Like someone has a model, if it's very highly proprietary model, they're not going to sell the model to someone else they don't know. And that's one of the biggest problems that we solve. We are building a peer-to-peer infrastructure where the community can come together to build these massive models without compromising each other's privacy.
The basic thing is that you need a lot of data for having a good model, and the more data, the better the model in general, isn't it like that?
Yeah, I mean, the better the data, the better the model.
Yeah.
They can also put in a lot of data, but they can be garbage. But definitely, it basically has a very big effect in the model's output. How high quality of data are you putting into the model?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, the amount of data is, it's the quality, and the quality is mostly the best data is private data probably, and that is.
So there are lots of public data as well, but private data is where the meta is at, because all the public data has already been scraped by OpenAI. We use ChatGPT, it has been trained on all the public knowledge that we already have. Private data is where most of the proprietary and high quality information is at the moment. You go to private data, you kind of get access to it, then all of a sudden you have access to all of this knowledge that you previously didn't have access to. And that's what makes it even more compelling. And especially the solution that we are building also abides by those principles, that the better privacy guarantees you provide, the more incentivized the players are to make their private, high valuable data available for AI development.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is actually the whole privacy topic, as there are leaks of data into OpenAI. The Samsung case was one of the first, I guess. And so I think privacy actually today, I mean, this is then for the listeners, it's like a few days in the past, but today the European Union data privacy law came into place. So that's really a topic that we have to think about. What to do, who can access the data, and you have
definitely.
I read through some of the blog posts, and I was completely lost. There's a lot of science on it and systems, and I think it goes too deep. But the interesting thing is you developed a system so that people can work together, and you're kind of the people in the middle that guarantee that the data is protected and the model still can learn. Huh?
Correct. Yeah. The model basically trains on fully encrypted data, and that's where the magic happens. You encrypt your data and send it to me, then I train my model on the data, and I get the same result as the data not being encrypted. And that's there are very futuristic technologies that enable that. Some of them are called zero knowledge proofs, which are very popular in the blockchain industry. And there are other technologies. One is called fully homomorphic encryption. That's also very fascinating. That's what we talk about on the blog. It's blog.bagel.net. If anyone is interested, but we go really deep how this works. For example, one fascinating thing with fully homomorphic encryption is that you get the same output as by doing calculation on encrypted data as doing calculation on raw data. For example, you have two digits, two numbers, 2 plus 3 equals 5, right? So you can see what is the 2, or you can see what is the second number, it's a 5, and you can see what is the operation, that's an addition. And after that, 2 plus 5 equals to 7, right? So you can do all the calculation. But what if I had the two numbers encrypted and also even the operation encrypted? You don't know what the two numbers are, and you don't know what kind of operation you have to do all those. Even then, you were able to get the same result, number 7. That's homomorphic encryption. That's the magic of cryptography. And that's why it has so deep implications in the advancements of not just artificial intelligence, any industry where there is mathematical scientific involved.
Is it also that I mean the example I love it because it's like, so yeah, okay, that makes sense, you know? It's yeah, it's the same. The system is the same, but you
Yeah,
can't see the numbers. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, okay. So it goes a little bit in a different direction than I wanted to because I'm just curious and ask, but it's great to learn those things. That's why it's a beginner's guide here to learn stuff. No, it's
Yeah,
like
makes sense.
and also the other thing I have to ask, and that would be like blockchain. It's nothing about Bitcoin or so. It's just you use blockchain as this is some I think it's an example where you really use blockchain for cool and useful case and not just speculation, no?
Yeah, so blockchain is inherently the technology, just like the internet. Well, we use the internet for a lot of things, financial things, non-financial things, right? Same as the blockchain. The blockchain initially started as a financial tool, where the Bitcoin came in, then there was Ethereum and all of that. So people really saw the use cases of blockchain in finance, where you can send money really easily, payment, trading, whatnot, right? But as a tool, same as internet, um, blockchain basically can be the base infrastructure for any kind of technology. And in this case, artificial intelligence. So what we leverage is that blockchain technology's ability to coordinate a big group of people who doesn't necessarily know each other or even trust each other, but they can come together and work with each other. And the trust assumptions are verified by the blockchain itself. Like if I'm gonna send you money and in the blockchain, some smart contract can make sure of that. So you don't really have to trust me to be able to coordinate with me. Same with the artificial intelligence training. Right? If we are beginning model together, you don't really have to trust me or even know me. The blockchain is the source of truth, and you can both of us can work together with the blockchain as a middleman.
Interesting. This is something, yeah, and not speculating, but trust. Actually, yeah, the whole thing is the bagel is about trust. It's like you do something, bring people together, community. I read a lot on the website on community. That is so you build basically people, firms, or bring them together, and they bring their data in. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we don't, we work with some companies, of course, but our vision is that we won't have to go and find people. They're incentivized to provide high quality data themselves. And that's where we bring in the blockchain coordination. If I, as a high quality data owner, want to contribute some data to the system, I make it available to the system. And then other consumers can um, find that data on the system and they'll start consuming it to train their models. And in this way, if more and more, the more usage my data gets, the more reward I get from the people who are actually consuming it. So I'm actually incentivized to be able to do so. And there is no middleman. And what the blockchain does is it's making sure that I actually have the data. Like, for example, we have developed this technology where if I am as a data provider, provide the data, the blockchain itself are going to verify it automatically every hour. Like I still have the data. If I delete it, then it will punish me. Like it will reduce my reputation in the system. And on the other side, some consumers who are building, they're also consuming the data and they're building the machine learning model. And there is trust assumptions there too. Like if they're actually taking it and are they actually getting access to the data, right? And that's where blockchain also comes in. Blockchain makes sure that the data that's being sent to the other party is properly encrypted so that they can use it, but at the same time, they cannot get access to the information. So I can go very deep in technical ways. So I'm trying to keep it as non-technical
Yes,
as
that's great.
possible.
Yeah.
But that's where the blockchain comes in. Like
Yeah.
two parties who doesn't really know each other, they don't even trust each other, but they can collaborate with each other through the coordination mechanism of the blockchain. And that's what we enable by using this peer-to-peer decentralized technology.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Interesting model. This is really because there's lots about the scraping of data, and YouTube data was the last, or the music stuff where they just scrape the data without having the rights to do it. And here we have a legal system for it. Yeah. Let's hope that
it's automated legal system that I can never get access to your data without your permission.
Yeah.
There's no scraping possible. Yeah. But at the same time, you're incentivized to provide me your data. But that's why you're also getting rewarded. So all of your data are not being used by the big companies for free. You yourself are making money if you're even allowing it for AI development.
There's this question around, is there enough data? I think with your system, one gets to a point where people contribute data that was before not there. Is it one of those factors that motivates you to create Bagel, to make more data available, or how is it?
More resource available, and data is one part of it, and more GPUs available. So we want to give the small players access to as much resource as the big players. I, as a small company founder, should be able to access as much GPUs and as much data sets as possible to be able to develop the model that I want. And that's what Bagel makes it possible. By in this decentralized manner where all the resources are crowdsourced from other community members. So there's no big companies splashing billions of dollars involved.
That's good. Now, I remember this classical case with Bill Gates that was when he was like a teen, he had access in the night to a computer at that time in the 60s that was special. And without this access, he wouldn't have learned something. So he was in that time, not Microsoft, but a small guy trying to figure out his way around in the world with computers. And it's basically the same. You allow people to do that. That's okay. I get, I get to the point. Yeah, great. That is it's a kind of a Robin Hood thing. It's fighting against the big ones, but I think it's it's worth it.
I think it's I would say like half Robin Hood thing. Robin Hood was stealing from the people, big wealth.
Okay, yeah.
We're not doing that. What we're allowing is that all the small people, smaller entities to come together, they'll compete against the big players. So it's a slightly different model. We're not taking it from anyone. We just allow the community to utilize the resources they already have.
Is interesting. I have this there's this cooperative model that we have. Germany's really strong there. You have lots of people going together and making one big entity and then being able to compete with the big ones. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. Now coming to something personal, because I'm also interested in you, and you are in the AI world for a long time as an engineer. So I mean, what are the biggest lessons you learned as a leader in AI in business? What do you think? How is the development and those things?
So one of the biggest realizations that I had during my career in the whole industry, actually there's quite a few. Like it's hard to pick which one is the big, but the biggest one is that this barrier of entry that exists in the system. And like it's a big motivation behind what I am doing today. But this barrier of entry is where even if you want to start with artificial intelligence, even if you're fed up with, like, for example, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever chatbot you use, you don't really have easy-to-use tools to be able to build something for your own, which is customized for your or your business's need. At the same time, not feeding all the private information and data that you have to OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
It's like currently it's just binary. You either give all of your private data to OpenAI or you don't use AI at all.
Yeah.
And that's not a world I want to live in. And it has been the same for a while. Like when I was working at Amazon and I was the lead for Alexa's infrastructure, It's the same. Like Amazon has like billions of dollars and they trillions actually something. And they have millions of employees. They can build whatever they want.
Yeah.
But if a consumer can come in and they're like, hey, I don't like it. Amazon is like getting all the data that I have from all the accounts I have, and they're using it to sell another thing to me. I don't like it. I want to have something and build something for myself and keep it for myself and use it for myself. They don't really have that option.
Yeah.
And that's one of the major motivations behind me starting with Bagel. We need to let these community members, that's what we call them, to build whatever artificial intelligence system they have. And that's the AI is the new oil. If you don't have access to AI, it's like not knowing how to write and read. So you cannot really compete with other people.
Yeah.
So we saw that like doesn't have to be this compromise. Like you either use AI or you don't have privacy. Like it has to be both. You both use AI or you have privacy. And that's where Bagel comes in as well.
Yeah. To remind the listeners that OpenAI is backed by Microsoft. Then another big player is Google. Google, they have their models themselves, their data. Amazon is backing Anthropic, which is Claude. Meta is Llama. So let's say the four biggest models are all those four players, and they have the data. They have so much money behind it. And yeah, this is like the entry is really hard in that area, I can imagine. So that, yeah, like really good point. Yeah.
Like all the YouTube videos that we upload, Google is just taking them and feeding it to train their AI. Even the community members that are doing most of the work to generate this content.
And even worse, I think if I put stuff on a website, they scrape my website for Googling, but also for the AI. So I can say, Google, don't go to my website. But then I won't be finding Google, and Google's a monopolist. So that is really, really bad. Yeah, it's a bad situation we are in. So yeah, I definitely see the point there. But still, a question: do you personally use ChatGPT or Claude or one of those models?
I personally use a custom-made model that we built on the Bagel platform, and that's what we enable other developers as well. Like if you're a company owner, you can come sign up for the Bagel platform, it's bagel.net. And you can build your own model, which is super customized for your own needs, and only you have access. And your data is never sees the light, let's say. Like it's always within your own system. You preserve your privacy. And you can use very confidential information to train your model and just interact with it. It's like your personal employee. And that doesn't really exist in the ChatGPT kind of world. So I used to use it, of course, but not anymore.
So the quality of what you have with your personal data is high enough so that it can compete with the generic model like ChatGPT.
Yes, especially the more and more open source models that are getting better and better. Recently, a lot of new open source models came in the market, which are as good as ChatGPT. So what we do, we let the developers take the model and tweak it according to their needs, and then use it in their system in a privacy preserving manner.
That's interesting. That's basically the thing is, if I'm like a small firm, I need an IT guy or something probably, but I can then put in my own data and have my own stuff working for me.
Not even like you might need someone who has some kind of technical knowledge, can use a laptop, but that's about it. That's all you need to be able to build a customized model on a platform.
Yeah, that's actually good. I mean, that's because so many people, I personally from the podcast or as an online marketing guy, people ask me, how do I do it? How do I make my own model? And yeah, actually there's a solution. That's great. Yeah. So you don't use ChatGPT, which is the first in this podcast. You have your own model. Okay, great.
Someone has to start, right?
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, that I don't think the future will be. I actually I personally don't hope that the future will be that there's like one Google again, one Amazon. You use the GPT from whatever brand, and that's the monopolist. I hope we don't wake up in this world. Personally, I mean, that would be scary. Again, you have a next monopoly.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And that leads basically into the last question, and that's the Terminator Matrix scenario. We didn't talk about a bad one, but how do you think the scary part of the AI? How is it? Can it be that the AI takes over and we humans are just obsolete?
So there is a probability, and what we can do is reduce the probability. We cannot take it to zero. With every generation defining technology, there's a probability that it might have caused a lot of harm. Like it was the case with the nuclear weapons, but generation defining technology. It was the same with space exploration. What if some alien got to know about us and started attacking? The Avenger style kind of attack that we see in the Avenger movies. Or now with artificial intelligence. What if artificial intelligence goes rogue and starts builds a Skynet and then starts to rule everyone? So how can we reduce the probability of that happening? And the best way to do so is to let the artificial intelligence be owned by everyone, by the people, not by a couple of companies. There are like maybe 50 people who are controlling all the major decisions within OpenAI, like what kind of AI is being built, what kind of AI is being deployed. What if they make a mistake? That's this small group making a mistake and going everything wrong is way higher probability than an AI model which is built by tens or if not hundreds of thousands of people. And everyone has their stake and control over it. And that's how we contribute to the positive outcome, at least the probability of the positive outcome of this AI. Because we cannot build it in the closed system. We have to build it in the open system.
That totally makes sense for me if one thinks about that those people that are in charge in those firms, many of them have like philosophies that are like, yeah, okay, if we humans are just a stage and AI is the next stage in evolution, I don't want those people to be on the levers then and turning AI on. And so I want that everybody can use it. Yeah, that makes totally sense for me. Yeah.
And that's what we want too, right? We want to enable you to be able to contribute in building an AI with the rest of the community. We don't want a bunch of people who probably has very low amount of connection with the regular world to be making all the important decisions.
This is really a thing, yeah. That really I can follow you on that. That's great. So let's just come to the last part. Where can we find you?
So as I mentioned, bagel.net, that's our landing page. We have a very deep research blog that's also linked there, so you can find us there. And me personally, I can be found on Twitter. It's called Bidhan XYZ. So my first name, then XYZ.
I will put everything in the show notes. So
that'd be good.
Yeah, great. So it was great having you. I learned a lot, and I hope for a democratization of AI with you, because I really see the dangers of those big firms. And yeah, people,
thank you.
If you have questions, ask Bidhan. He knows how to build your own GPT or something, and go to the website, look what they do. It's really interesting. I was over my head. There was quite some knowledge there. It's interesting. Yeah, thank you for being in the podcast here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having more conversations in the future.
Thank you. And now we come to the end of another episode. I think that was quite interesting what we learned today. And I am always in favor of the small ones against the big ones. As a consumer, it's always good to don't have monopolies or oligopolies, making the market against you and small firms, empowering small firms. This is a nice thing to do, and I really love it. So you find Bidhan on LinkedIn, you find Bagel in the internet. I put everything in the show notes for you to find the important links, and you can read all the great articles they write. It's deep stuff, I have to say. It's not beginner stuff, but you can skim it and you get a feeling of what they are talking about, what they're doing there, what they're talking about here, what Bidhan talked about. So, but don't forget to subscribe to the podcast or go to argoberlin.com/newsletter and subscribe for the newsletter to get all the important updates on the beginner's guide or ideas on AI that I have. Yeah, was great having you here in the podcast again, dear friend of the podcast. Hope to see or hear you next time. Turning off the mic. Dietmar from argo.berlin.